Hi folks, Puffin here with your Antifa News Briefa for March 13th, 2022. No oil, no war. That's what this episode's all about. If we have no oil, we'll have no war. Now, I first came up with this phrase a week or two ago, early days of Putin's most recent invasion and war crimes in Ukraine, when Russian tanks were running out of gas, and just hearing the reports of Russian tanks running out of gas and being abandoned, it made me think, no gas, no war, no oil, no war. Like, if you don't have the oil to get there, you can't have a war. But it made me zoom out and think deeper than that. If you don't have oil, you won't have war. If we don't have an oil industry anymore, we won't have war. It's the last industry, or one of the last industries, oil and military industrial complex, holding us back from a green future, like the real future. So I'm from Oz. I'm a fairy witch from Oz, which is the future. In Oz, we have a phrase, no money, no war. We're always explaining in all the Oz books you can read by L. Frank Baum, which are a prophecy of the future. If you care to check them out, you can get them in your library or buy them, but they're really easy to read. And in all of them, they explain that the reason they don't have war in Oz is because they don't have money. So no money equals no war. Now again, oil is one of the biggest industries, soaking up all the money from everybody, making money a scarce commodity when it doesn't have to be. We could all have enough money if the oil companies weren't stealing it from everybody else and some other companies, but you know what I'm saying. So we get rid of oil, we get rid of war. Now, you can see this more specifically as all of their plans are collapsing, or as Ari Melber from MSNBC has shown that we news journalists can quote rap lyrics. If memory serves me correctly, it was Buster Rhymes who said, "Woo-ha, got you all in check." And that's kind of what happened right now, is like all these evil forces, oil, military, Republicans in America, Putin in Russia, Putin running the Trump Putiners here, and Trump Putiners all over the world. This whole network of trolls and evil that's pretty much headed by Putin, as far as I can tell. I mean, he's kind of the one calling the shots right now, or making the world as bad as it is. And it's going to go down with him. That network is going down with him. It reminds me of a one of those game show games where, can you risk it all? If you're going to risk it all for the final question, or like a house of cards. If all of this stuff is a house of cards, you might get a house of cards to stand up at a certain level, but you can't keep stacking cards on top. If you keep stacking evil and evil and evil on top of evil, it's eventually going to collapse. Like this hat will sometimes eventually collapse. So that's what Putin has done. He's gone way too evil. The house is collapsing. All the cards that stay part of it, all the different countries and companies and whoever continue to support Putin, and all the individuals, Trump Putineers here in America and around the world, they're going to collapse with it, or they're going to be crushed underneath the collapse of Putin's house of cards, because he's added too many cards. He's put way too many cards, including the nuclear card, on the deck, and it's over. So it just hopefully needs to go ahead and collapse before he continues to do more damage. But that's the inevitable end of what he's doing. So it reminds me of that, and the reason it makes me think we've got him all in check is because he's the worst, but everybody supporting him for various reasons is bad too, and doing bad things by supporting him. And if we don't completely counter him, then we're being bad as well. And so we have a wing, the right wing, the Trump Putineers in America, who are all about war and all about oil. I mean, that's been the case. We've always known that the same people who are all about oil are also the same people who are all about war, and just so happen to be the same people who are against everybody's rights, racists and sexists. They're the evil people in our society and have been, and they're being pretty blatant about it since Trump. And pretty successful at fashioning our country as evil as it can be. I mean, it's been pretty evil before, but they're, going hard in that direction again, and we need to stop them. So their forces are in check with each other, though. Like, they have put each other in check in this situation. And the best example of this is, again, oil. I heard recently the debate between our Colorado politicians, right wing and left wing, supposedly left wing, but right wing and not so right wing, that they're saying we should drill for oil. We should open up private lands to drilling. Well, first of all, that's a bad idea, because every investment we do in oil is investment we could be spending in green energy and never having these problems again. But they keep messing it up. So no, we don't need to do any more drilling. But a perfect example of that is see my other video about the refinery. The reason why we buy any Russian oil at all or any sour oil at all is because some oil companies spent billions on a refinery just 10 or 20 years ago for that oil when they could have bet that we're not going to be using oil anymore and not made that refinery. But the only reason we even import sour oil is because of these companies having that refinery. We don't want them to take $1 billion loss. Whatever, it's like it's their loss. It was their bad bet to continue to bet on oil infrastructure when we need to bet on green energy. We don't need to prop up these companies. That's fascist, because they're the big companies. And again, the evil companies holding us back from progress, as they have been for a long time. So we don't need to be building any more oil infrastructure for the reason we need to spend all that money on green infrastructure. But another reason we don't need to do it is I heard a recent report in Colorado that there's all these wells that because of their size being a small well, they're not counted in the regulation. So the usual way they regulate stuff doesn't count for all these emissions from tens of thousands of tiny wells. So we've already got that problem that we need to solve. We don't need more of that problem. Now, the other thing is the alternative right now, since we haven't invested enough in green infrastructure, is to buy more oil from other countries. And that's where they get real whiny and people show their true colors. They're like, whoa, we can't buy oil from Iran. We can't buy oil from Venezuela. Well, why not? Okay, because is Venezuela invading another country? Is Iran invading another country? No, Russia's invading another country. And what Putin's doing, back to that house of cards, Putin has taken it so evil that everything else pales in comparison. It doesn't, not that they were even doing, I'm not going to even give credit to the idea that they were doing anything wrong to begin with, because first of all, what was Venezuela doing? They democratically elected a leader, and their leader was socialist, and we didn't like that. That's what they did? They elected a leader? Okay, so we're jealous? Anyway, and what did Iran do? I don't, what, Iran grew beards? What do we have against Iran? Oh, Iran has an ambition to have nuclear power, which is unnecessary. You don't need nuclear power. Iran, Ukraine, all you other countries that haven't developed nuclear power or nuclear weapons, develop freaking green energy instead. Be the leaders, the pioneers of that, and sell it to everybody else, and be, the new dominant world powers. That's how you do it. You go green. Anyway, but Iran has an ambition to a nuclear weapon, but Putin has a nuclear weapon and is now threatening, or has 4,000 nuclear weapons, is now threatening to use them. Do you see what I'm talking about? It doesn't compare. All this effort and attention on Iran not getting a nuclear weapon for years, for decades now. That effort and attention, if that had gone towards getting Russia and America and whoever else, Israel and France and whoever else, to not have nuclear weapons, if the same effort that had all been directed towards Iran for some reason had been directed towards everyone who already had nuclear weapons to not have nuclear weapons, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in right now. We have to worry about a madman using nuclear weapons. See my video? If only a madman would use nuclear weapons, why have them? Just waiting around for a madman to use them. And now we've got a madman. So it's kind of like a madman magnet, or a light that draws a fly or a moth that can't wait to blow us all up, kill himself and blow us all up. That's that fly moth to the flame mentality. So we don't need that flame. We need to get rid of nuclear power. We need to get rid of oil. No oil, no war. Hashtag pillow revolution. It's something we can all do from bed. We can all voice our opinions, get these ideas out there until the network of good ideas replaces their terrorist network of bad ideas. So let's do that. But I think they've shown we're going to buy oil from Venezuela. And anybody who whines about it's going to look stupid. We're going to buy oil from Iran. And anybody who whines about it's going to look stupid because Iran's not invading another country and Venezuela's not invading another country. And you know who's really stupid right now? Stupid Putin for invading another country. He's trying to destroy Ukraine, which he probably won't do. He won't destroy Ukraine. The people will come back eventually. He's destroying it, but he won't utterly destroy it. But he will destroy Russia in his attempt. That's how this works. When you're out for the evil comes back on you. And so that's what happened to you, Putin. And it's going to happen to everybody who stands with him. So China, Mexico, for some reason, any different country that is standing with Putin or not standing against Putin right now, just be warned. The house of cards is collapsing. Get out from under it before it collapses on you. Again, one of my famous videos. No one cries when a Death Star full of Nazis dies. When that thing blows up, nobody's like, but they're families. No one cares. Don't be in an evil system. And that's the oil companies, that's the military. You know who you all are. So get out, you know, like all the Russian soldiers who are surrendering, hundreds so far, 500, maybe 1,000 by now. Russian soldiers have surrendered to Ukraine, hopefully to turn and fight against Putin, because he's the one causing the problems. We all need to turn against him. We all need to turn against any oil company that's not going to just go for the future, because we need the future, green energy, no more oil, no more war. Thanks for watching, Sherry. Love you forever. Please comment and let me know how you feel about things and share your ideas as well. See you soon. Don't forget the pillow revolution. We can do it from bed. If we can't do it